Hello friends and enemies, it's me Isabel here with my Kindle Unlimited check-in. So I've officially read like 10 books from the 20, I think I have 19 checked out right now, that I have checked out. So it's time to talk about them. I've cycled some out, I've cycled some in. There's a lot that are still here from the previous check-in. It's fine. It's fine. I will be reading more of them as time goes. So you know what? It's gonna be okay. So let's talk about the 19 or so books I've checked out, and then we'll talk about the 10 I have read so far. So first up, we have Charming Your Dad by Sarah Blue. This is a ex's dad romance. I love the cover. I saw it on TikTok. I saw a bunch of people that read the arc and liked it, that I trust for the most part on Rex. Also, I just love an ex's dad story. They're always so fun. Like, they're always so fun. So I'm very excited to dive into this. Then I have Demon's Dream by Elle Kaysen. I talked about this in my October TBR. This is an 800-page, extremely long, like kind of kidnapped from a wedding Mafia vibes book. It sounds amazing, but also I'm terrified of it because it's no joke 770 some pages. I'm gonna start it in October. I don't think I will finish it in October though. Then I have Gracie and the Grump by Mariana Zapata. So I don't read a ton of Mariana Zapata. I have my favorite, which is The Wall of Winnipeg and Me. And I just, none of them have ever hit the same for me as that book hit. Like, I loved that one. So I've kind of given them up because they're so long and they take me so long to read. But Gracie and the Grump is about a superhero. And she like finds him on her yard, I think, like that day. And I have to find out. I know Brie over at In Love and Words loved it, and I'm a sucker for superhero books. So it's just like, I have to read it. Then we have The Demon's Bargain by Katie Roberts. So I do have arcs of these, like I got digital copies with the Kickstarter, but I've been checking them out from KU as I read them. So if I want Alexa to read it to me, she can, because I've kind of been tandem reading it, like where I'll have Alexa read for a little bit and then I'll read with my eyeballs and go back and forth. So this is the second book in the Peculiar Taste series. I know nothing. I haven't even started it yet, so I can't really give you any details. I just know I want to read the series, so we're working on it. Then I have Carnage by Sarah Bailey. This is a Why Choose Four Horsemen themed romance. This is childhood friend who vanishes, comes back, and doesn't remember her connection to these men. I'm really excited to read this. I just keep putting it off because I've just not been in the mood for like a book series that I'm just gonna like not want to put down probably. I'm in a weird reading mood this year, but it's fine. Then we have Carnal Cryptids East Coast by Vera Valentine, another paranormal romance. This is also a Why Choose, centered around a dive bar, which is like one of my favorite things. I love when like we have a specific location that centers a story, which is kind of what I liked about the other series I read. We'll talk about it later, but it's like centered around a coffee bar. Like, I just think that's fun. Then we have Autumn of the Witch by Iris Foxglove. I know nothing about this. Heather told me to read it for my wanting to read a witchy book prompt, so I added it to my DBR. Same thing for this next one, which is Sinful Vow by, oh no, who's that by? This is by Asia Monique. This is a Black Mafia hero. It is definitely like kind of an enemies to lovers-esque or something like that. Like, they don't want to be together, but they're gonna have to find a way to make it work. And she's like a mafia princess. So I'm in. Like, we don't have enough Black authors writing mafia books, so I will always pick them up when I see them. Then we have A Duel with the Vampire Lord by Elise Kova. This is one that I've had checked out for a bit. It is long. All of her books are long, but I really enjoyed the Deal with the Elf Prince, whatever the first book in that series is. I'm probably mixing up the two titles because I always do. I own them and I still mix them up. Deal with the Elf Prince. King. Deal with the Elf King. I read the first one. I haven't read the second one, but I am going to skip ahead to the third because that's just how I roll sometimes. Then I still have Can't Catch Me by Alexandra Warren, which I read like the first few pages of and I'm very excited about, but I need to actually get back to it. I Love and the Night kicked off and I just never didn't finish it in time. So this is a former best friends and it's a football romance. It feels perfect for fall. It's set in Houston, so that's exciting. I feel like we don't get a lot of Houston books, so I just always love it when we get some different cities. Then we have A Soul to Keep, which is by Opal Rain. This is a very popular one right now. The sequel, or one of the sequels, just came out. This is like a human being offered to a demon. The offering is seen as a bad omen, and Orpheus is the demon who just like wants a companion. And the fan art I've seen has been really cute. He's like carrying her around, and I'm very excited for this. Then I have Beauty and the Baller by Ilsa Madden Mills, who I've read some from and enjoyed. This I picked up because it's a free audio with your KU subscription. So this is an NFL player turned small town coach and a former beauty queen. They had a one-night stand forever ago that did not go well, and now they're being reunited and pushed together by the community. This just sounds fun. That's all I got. It sounds fun. Then we have Muscles and Monsters by Ashley Bennett, which I'm hopefully reading soon. This is one that I've had on my TBR for a while, and this is the bakery owner who runs into this like bodybuilding werewolf guy, and it's their like romance. It sounds very cute. Her Revenge by Jade Presley is the sequel to Her Villains, and I need to read it. It is a fantasy romance inspired by Marvel, and it definitely has really good Marvel vibes. I'm curious to see how the sequel goes. I honestly keep forgetting I have it checked out, so I need to like put it on my TBR so I get to it sooner, like in my list that I have on my phone. Then I have That Time I Got Drunk and Needed a Love Potion and a Werewolf by Kimberly Lemming. This is the sequel to That Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Demon, whatever. Her titles are so long and I love them, and they describe the books. I love the setup of this, that she like accidentally throws a love potion at him. I read a few pages and I'm excited to come back to it, and I hopefully will get to it sooner than later. We also have Mafia Mistress by, oh no, what is the author? Mia Finelli. This is one that like everybody loves. Again, it's another, she's engaged to his son and he decides, no, I want you. So she becomes his mistress, and I think it sounds really fun. I love, 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 love a plot like this. Again, I don't know why. I don't have like a thing for dads, but like, I think it's an age thing right now too. Like I find those older characters more attractive because like I'm older now. I don't know. But I'm excited for this. Everyone I know loves it, so I'm hopeful I will also love it. I just haven't been picking up Mafia books, to be honest. Then we have Puck Me Secretly by Odette Stone. This is the one where there's a plane crash, and I need to get to this ASAP. It's also a hockey romance. Like, we're hitting hockey romance season for me. Plane almost crashing brings her to blurting out to him that she's never had an orgasm, and he agrees to give her one. Turns out they work together. He's a hockey player. She works for the team. So we have like this great moment, and then, oh no, we're co-workers. Yikes. I can't wait. Everything I know about this one I've heard is really funny and fun. Then the last one I have is Love and Monsters by Raven Flanagan, which I'm getting to ASAP because this has been on my list for way too long. She falls through a portal and is to be the pet of the Lord of the City, but she's imprisoned in the dungeon with a monster who likes blood, and it sounds delightful, and I truly, honestly, like, need to read it during Love of the Night if I can. We'll see if I manage, but I really do need to read it. It sounds so good. All right, now we're gonna quickly move into all the books I've read off of my KU TBR, which is like, I feel like I read ones and then I just don't cycle out the old ones and I cycle in, you know what I mean? So like I need to start reading from the bottom of the list up. So that way I'm reading the oldest checked out books. First we have Two Scoops of Hellfire by Kimberly Lemming. This is a super quick little novella about a baker who accidentally summons a demon while she's baking, and let's just say she's not good at baking. So she's not actually a baker, but she's trying. It's really steamy, really cute. I think I give it like a 4. It's just very cute and smutty. Like, that's all it is. It is very simple. It is straightforward and to the point. Then we have Sweet Berries by C.M. Nakasa. This was my members pick for a month ago. I think it was September's pick, whatever. It was a pick for my members, and I read this and did a little vlog for them. This was really cute and fun. I'm giving it 4 stars. I really loved Morning Glory Milking Farm, and it doesn't quite compare to Morning Glory Milking Farm, but I did really enjoy this. It has a Mothman hero, and the sex was bananas in this, so there's that. I also really liked the ADHD and neurodivergent representation in this book. Our Mothman hero is just super sweet and caring, and I loved seeing that on page for monster heroes. Like, again, sometimes I feel like in the monster books we get like sweeter heroes than we do in regular books. Then I read Primal by Jessica Gaziella, which I gave 3.5 stars. This is a cute short shifter romance. It is not full of as much primal play as I wanted, but I really liked how it played out. It is about a girl who comes back to the Appalachian Mountains, and she goes to live in her grandma's house, and there's a werewolf pack nearby, and the pack didn't like her grandma. There were some issues there, like some history, and he sees her and crushes on her, like chases her down in the woods, and then we go from there. And I just really enjoyed that part of it. I enjoyed the fact of her like leaving the city to connect with the outdoors again and life, and it was really cute and well done. Then I read Little Green Vines by Britt Andrews. This is a sapphic monster romance. I gave it 3.5. It's very smutty, very sexy, very good, but like I wanted more from it. I wanted a little more world building, I think. This one, the demoness lures the girl into the woods and gives her a wild time. There's also like some weird transformative things she can do with her body that were interesting. So like, again, a fun time, but not a favorite. Next, we have Queenie and the Krakens, whose author I'm going to butcher the name of, and I'm sorry. I follow her on TikTok. I really like her books. But I need to like actually watch her say her name so I can say it correctly. This is Alira Anya Saris. She wrote Queenie and the Krakens. She actually got bullied for calling out issues with Kate Stewart. Like, her books got review bombed. We picked it for my members pick last month in September. So Sweet Berries was August. Anyways, this was September's pick. I did a vlog for them and I loved this book. I gave it 5 stars. This is a 5-star Why Choose Motorcycle Club Paranormal Romance with Mermaid Shifters. It is not Krakens, but their motorcycle club is called the Krakens. Our female main character is an absolute badass without feeling like a pick-me. And I love the fact that we start the journey with her and like through this all, right? So she is, there's things about her past we as the reader don't know, and the motorcycle club guys don't know. She stumbles upon a murder and the club takes her in to protect her. And she's just like very resistant because she's like, no, I got this, I'm fine on my own. They're like, no, for real, they're going to kill you. You cannot go on your own. You're gonna endanger your friend, which then she agrees to stay. We got like a little preview for her friend's book, which I'm so excited for. But yeah, this was just like top tier. This was amazing. I honestly continue to be astounded by how good and how much I loved this book. It is long, but I did not feel a single one of those pages when I was reading it. Like, it is almost 500 pages, I think. It might be over 5. It's close. I didn't feel a single page when I read this book. It didn't feel like it was that long, and I just kept falling more and more in love with it. Like, each of the guys has like all the different personalities I like in a romance, just everything happening. And I just loved how badass she was, and like, she took their help because she did need it, but she didn't know how much she needed it, if that makes sense. Then I read Praise by Sarah Kate, which I gave 4.5 stars. This is the ex's dad. She ends up in a BDSM relationship with him, and they end up more than that. My quibbles with this book, we'll start with that and then I'll talk about what I liked. I felt like some of the setup was a little strange. I didn't love the details. I felt like the handling of a situation with the sister and the sister's identity felt, it wasn't bad that it was there. I just didn't love how it was fully handled as a queer person. I don't know. And I'm not trans, so like I can't speak fully on that. But it pinged a couple little like in my head, you know? But I still appreciated it being there. So this is a praise kink book for sure. And I think the praise kink could have been more than it was. But I think the things I really liked here is it's a really funny meet cute situation where he thinks she's his new submissive, and she's not. She's there to pick up a check from the apartment she used to have with his son, who he's estranged from because his son thinks he's a dirty bastard, literally. And she ends up like in this situation where she's like doing these things for him, not understanding it, completely new to the BDSM world. And I really liked the introduction to the BDSM community that he gave her, and that it was someone who had so much experience in the community to allow her to learn more. That felt really good and I really enjoyed it. I loved the praise kink again. I liked their dynamic. I think their relationship worked really well. The son's an asshole, so I'm curious to see his book because he is book 4 in the series, and I'm curious to see how that plays out. Then I read Eyes on Me by Sarah Kate, which is the second book in this series, and I gave that 2.5. This is a stepbrother, step-sibling romance. She's like 8 or 13. She's like 8 when their parents get married. He's 13 years older, so he's in his 20s. He never had attraction to her, and that is clarified at the very end of the book until she was grown. But she's a cam girl, and I felt like the book should have been more sex positive than it felt, for the fact that she was a sex worker, and it really bothered me that it wasn't. There's also a point at which they talk about like a whole thing happening with like only one girl and all these guys, and it was so hot, and it just felt weird, like we were using queerness to titillate straight people. My friend Jackie talked about this in her review, and I agree with her. It just felt weird. Again, same thing, something like just kind of pinged in my brain. I was like, I'm not comfortable. And I really liked like the sex in this book. It was really great. But also there's this miscommunication thing where he is someone, she thinks he is someone he is not, like in a different setting. Like they're talking in person, and then he's talking to her through like the campsite, and she doesn't know it's him. And I felt like that dragged on too long. I needed that to not happen for as long as it did. Like, really, really needed that to not be as long as it was. But here we are. It happened. Next, we have the reinvention of the Rose by Christina C. Jones. Y'all, this is a new one on the must-read list. This is the first book in a series about women who have left like a cult situation. I'm comparing it to Black Widow, and they are going to find and start their new lives outside of the assassination cult. And it's like group thing, and it's really good. This was really fun. This follows a divorced guy with a daughter. He's not the sole custody. The parent is present in the story, and like cool. Like, I love when that happens. If they're divorced and like they have a kid and their parent is present and like they're cool, I'm here for it. We get too much of the villain story with the exes. So he is a tattoo artist. He gives her a tattoo to cover up her marking from being in the assassination group. And it's just kind of their dynamic. It's really sweet. It's really funny. It just kind of had all the things I love and all the things I expect from a Christina C. Jones book. I'm excited to continue this series, and I cannot recommend it enough if you haven't checked them out yet. This is also set in the Heights, which is her like specific town where she has stories, and I love that element of it as well. Then I have Wolf Gone Wild by Juliet Cross. I finally read it. I started it years ago on a love of the night and never finished it. I finished it this time. I already gave it 4 stars and I already loved it. Like, it was so freaking good. I think I benefited some from audiobooking and reading it. So the audiobook, I think Alpha's narration was more palatable in audio form than reading it. This is about a witch and a wolf. Her family has banned werewolves, but he becomes an exception. They're trying to help break his curse. I personally just like didn't really care for the ending and how the curse breaking stuff wrapped up. I don't feel like we had a lot of setup for it to get there personally, which is why we got a 4 star, but it was really fun. I laughed out loud. I freaking loved our heroine Evie. Nerdy girls unite, you know, like that was perfection. So I'm really glad I did finally read this, and I already started the second book, Don't Hex and Drive, so it will be in the next update and my Love in the Night vlog. Then the last book I read was The Death Gods. The last book I read was The Death God's Sacrifice. This is by Jenny Nordbak, and this is also part of the Peculiar Taste series, which is why, like I said, I'm checking out the KU and also using Alexa to read them. Like, I'm switching back and forth a lot right now. So I give this 4 stars. I think this is a really interesting setup. This is the opening of the shadow market and how the shadow market gets opened. And we have a badass Gorgon female main character. Gorgons are like Medusa, right, with the snakes. And she felt, again, very badass without feeling like not like other girlsy, which I really liked. And our hero is a druid who turns into like this giant beast with like antlers and stuff. The things that stood out to me the most in this were, one, fucking fantastic face sitting in this book. It immediately went on my rec list that I'm building right now for face sitting. So like, y'all, very, very good. And I think the setup really stood out, and it was really interesting to read. And the reveals at the end were also very interesting as to who killed the sister she's trying to avenge. That was very interesting, but I think it dragged a little for how short it is. Like, it dragged in a way I expect a long book to drag. Like, it's a novella. I feel like I should just be like boom, boom, boom. But the sex was great and everything else was bomb. So I just had some like plotting felt slow at a couple moments. But yeah, otherwise it was really interesting, and I'm excited to read the rest of that series. So that'll definitely be on my next check-in, because I should have read all of them by the time I come back and do a KU check-in in December. Let's be honest, it's gonna be December. So, all right, y'all. That is everything I read from KU. Let me know a recent book you read from KU and loved, or one on my TBR that I haven't read yet that you think I need to prioritize ASAP. And if you don't want to do that, leave me a werewolf or a demon, some sort of emoji like that, because I feel like I'm deep in the monster books as always, but it's fine. So yeah, leave me one of those, and I will have links to all these books down there in that description box for you, as well as links to my friend anywhere on the internet, and I will talk to y'all in just a few days. Bye.
Already packing, come with me. I'm not really asking. We'll get away to a place where we don't know. About to see the world in action, what we can be, life with no distractions. We'll get away.